caught in the crossfire. Was caught in the
What's up, guys? Lance, the Obscure Movie Guy, coming to you once again, bringing you another fun-filled video full of information that you don't need, nor do you probably even care about. But today we're going to do an obscure movie actor highlight on a actor that we've all seen, we all know, but we know very little about. A lot of us have seen him in blockbuster movies like Blade Trinity or even Mission Impossible 2. We know him as Mick Rory on the CW's Arrowverse. A lot of us know him as Lincoln Burrows from Fox's Prison Break, and even before that on the Fox short-lived TV series John Doe. He was born in England, grew up in Australia, went to the Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts where he was classmates with one Hugh Jackman. He is Dominic Purcell, and we know very little about this man. But today we're going to highlight 3 of his lesser-known film roles that we should all check out, and the first one we're going to talk about is from 2015, simply titled Gridlocked. Gridlocked is a 2015 Canadian action film directed by Alan Alger and co-written by him and Rob Rabol. It had its world premiere at Fantastic Fest on September 26, 2015. Stars Dominic Purcell, Stephen Lang, Danny Glover, and former WWE bombshell Trish Stratus. Former SWAT leader David Hendricks is down on his luck and failed to receive a medical clearance after taking a bullet on the job. Despite being highly trained and competent, his efforts have been reduced to routine tasks for the NYPD. And as if things couldn't get any worse, he's forced to babysit Brody Walker, a hard-partying celebrity that's been sent on a mandatory ride-along as a part of his probation. Pampered and irritating, Walker is the last thing Hendricks needs. But all of that changes when a police training facility comes under attack by a team of ruthless mercenaries led by a mysterious man named Corver. Now Hendricks and Walker must band together with the remaining survivors to fight back and keep the mercenaries from taking over the compound. Now, the storyline in and of itself isn't that great. I mean, celebrities get into trouble all the time, and I don't know of any of them that have had to do a mandatory ride-along for some sort of probation. But I have heard stories of actors going on ride-alongs to learn the role. I believe Jake Gyllenhaal did some of this with the LAPD for one of his movie roles. But the storyline in and of itself, not the greatest storyline in the world, but the movie is actually pretty entertaining. It's full of action. The cast is pretty good. Danny Glover, Stephen Lang's always amazing in what he does. Dominic Purcell is actually a much better actor than I think people give him credit for. So the action sequences are pretty good, and Dominic Purcell is a pretty physical guy. He's a big dude. He's like 6'2". He's obviously always been pretty muscular. He likes to do a lot of his own stunts, and not to be outdone by the likes of Tom Cruise, he actually went toe-to-toe with Stephen Lang for their fight scene. And the day of filming, Dominic actually had pretty bad symptoms of food poisoning that he was dealing with, but he didn't let it slow him down. He filmed it, he did it, and then he went and continued to be sick, but did all that. So it's a pretty good movie. It was actually it had its premiere at some festival, some Toronto Film Festival in like 2015. It was actually picked up by Netflix for worldwide distribution, and then got sent out like in July of 2016. So you can find it on Netflix, you can find it on Tubi, you can find it on Vudu. But it's a pretty entertaining movie. If you like, B action movies like I do, it's a good place to start. And Dominic Purcell does a pretty good job. I would like to see him in more mainstream stuff, especially when it comes to the action stuff. The next movie I want to talk about is, I don't remember. Isn't that some bullshit? Oh, Elimination Game. I had to think about it because it had like 3 different operating titles. So Elimination Game is a 2014 film, and that was the international title. Its working title was Turkey Shoot, which was a Turkey Shoot. So Elimination Game / Turkey Shoot is a remake of the 1982 Australian dystopian film Turkey Shoot. and plays much like The Condemned and / or The Running Man. So let's take a look at that. Elimination Game is a 2014 Australian dystopian science fiction action thriller directed by John Hewitt and co-written by Hewitt and Belinda McClory. Shot in Australia, the film stars Dominic Purcell, Viva Bianca, and Robert Taylor, and was inspired by the 1982 film of the same title, Turkey Shoot, directed by Brian Trenchard Smith. In the near future, SEAL Commander Rick Tyler is sent to Libya to assassinate its leader, and apparently completing the mission finds himself in prison charged with war crimes for murdering the population of a village during the currently ongoing World War of Africa. And his mission failed as the Libyan leader is still alive. Sentenced to life in prison, he is given a temporary reprieve to appear on the popular reality television show called Turkey Shoot, where he is pitted against the series of professional killers that is voted for by the audience. If Tyler, who has no weapons, can survive 3 levels of hunting, he will receive a full pardon and get his freedom back. Now, this storyline is nothing new. However, to be fair, 1982's Turkey Shoot, it may have been a new storyline then. Basically, game show or some sort of game where you hunt the world's most dangerous animal, man. It is a storyline that's been done and done and done again. Hard Target 2, Surviving the Game, The Condemned, Gamer, Elimination Game, internationally known as it would be. For what it's worth, the movie's actually pretty entertaining. I do like the storyline, even though it's been played out a million times, and I've seen all those movies that I just named, and I will probably go over them in the future. But the movie itself, it's kind of fun, it's kind of campy. It doesn't mean to be, I don't think, is part of the problem. But there is kind of a couple of cool tie-ins with the original film. So they do show some archive footage kind of in the background and some TV sets and stuff like that. If people watching Turkey Shoot, and they're actually watching the original 1982 film. And there is a couple of tie-ins with some of the original actors from the 1982 film, not reprising their original role, but just being in a different role in the newer film. But they are Australian actors, and I don't really know who they are. I believe one of them is Cameron Duncan. I don't know what his role was or is, but this is the Australian title was Turkey Shoot for 2014. It was released internationally as Elimination Game. But again, another typical B action movie. Dominic Purcell, definitely shows his physicality, and it's entertaining to watch. It's like kind of like The Running Man, The Condemned, like I said, Surviving the Game, Hard Target. If you've watched any of those movies, it's basically the same thing, just different characters. But a good way to kill 90 minutes. Knock back a few beers, watch a cool action movie, relax. So, the last Dominic Purcell movie that I want to talk about is by far, I think, his most impressive. This one really has flown under the radar. As most of his other stuff has done, but it's called Assault on Wall Street, and this movie I was kind of taken back because it was not what I expected at all. Assault on Wall Street is a 2013 action film written and directed by Hugh Boll and starring Dominic Purcell, Edward Furlong, Keith David, and Eric Roberts. Tells the story of a security guard who struggles to pay his wife's medical bills and loses his investments in the financial crisis of 2007-2008, prompting a shooting spree on Wall Street after his wife has taken her own life. In the midst of the 07-08 financial crisis, a portfolio manager instructs his employees to neglect the best interests of clients in order to increase company profits. Meanwhile, Jim Baxford, played by Dominic Purcell, is an armored car driver and a former soldier, lives with his wife, Rosie, in New York City. Rosie is in the process of recovering from a near-fatal brain tumor. The health insurance has reached its limit, and Jim finds he is unable to afford her treatment. He decides to cash in his pension that he earned from serving in the military, but learns much of it is lost as the result of bad investments. on part of his financial advisor. In addition, he finds himself in a $60,000 lawsuit as a result of a bad real estate investment conducted by his rogue financial advisor. Now, you'd never know it judging by the cover art for the DVD box, movie poster, even the trailer itself. The movie is not as heavy on action as you think it would, despite its title, Assault on Wall Street, and the trailer makes it look like it's a full-on assault. But this movie very much plays more out like an actual drama than it does an action film. The struggles that you see Dominic's character Jim go through is something that was very relatable. In fact, you did a lot of research with actual victims of the financial crisis from 2007, 2008, and actually did some research and talked to an actual German professor that was a part of the, I don't know, like the German board of whatever the hell, back in 2008. But the director did a lot of research for the film to make the struggle seem as real as possible, and it really does come through very well in this film, the struggles that Jim is going through. And like I said, it plays very hard out like a drama than it does an action film, and you really feel for the guy. And this, a lot of this is based on some, a lot of actual facts. People struggled through that financial crisis, lost a lot of money, lost their pensions, and obviously health coverage and health insurance here in the States is gotten to a point where it's completely out of control. And I'm sure there's a number of people that have found themselves in some frivolous lawsuits that was not of their own doing and out of their control. So this was by far the best of the three that I've talked about, and it actually gave Dominic a chance to actually put out some real good acting. He kind of stepped outside of, I guess, what would be considered a comfort zone in regards to what he's mostly known for. Really well done. He really plays the character well. By far his best acting out of these three. And I did really like him as John Doe. John Doe, I'm going to touch on real quick, was a TV series back in the early 2000s on Fox. It ran for like a season, maybe a season and a half. It was like 22 or 23 episodes. He was basically Jason Bourne before there was Jason Bourne. He plays John Doe, a guy that doesn't know who he is, where he came from, or anything about him. He fell naked from the sky. But he seems to know everything, a walking, talking Google, if you will, before Google was even really a thing. We'll say he was a walking, talking Britannica encyclopedia set. But it was a really good show, and I'm kind of surprised it got cut off, because even at the time it was getting fairly decent reviews. And I think it's one of those things that the longer it would have gone, maybe season 2 into season 3, it would have garnered a really good audience. But like most networks, everybody's looking for lightning in a bottle and don't want to give a chance to anything. If you're not making headway in the first 13 episodes of a series, you're going to get cut. Or if you're Netflix, you just cut everything after one season because you don't give a damn. That's a different video for a different day. But guys, that's my take on Dominic Purcell. Check out these movies. Definitely check out Assault on Wall Street. That one's definitely worth the watch more than the other two. Really good movie. Like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel, and share the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.